At the time of this recording, I have coached over 800 agency owners all around the world doing just one specific thing, and that is building an Onlyfans management agency. As you can imagine, I have experienced pretty much everything there is, all the ups, the downs, all the mistakes and pitfalls that people make when trying to scale their agency. So in this particular video, I'm going to be going over the biggest mistakes to avoid to make sure you do not fail when you're trying to build your OFM. Now let's start all the way at the beginning, which is if we break everything completely down to the core fundamentals of OFM, what is it? It's a service-based business. You're an agency providing a service to a client. Now in any service-based business, as I just mentioned there, you're providing a service to a client. Your client is the most important person when it comes to building your agency. Now, I'm sure most of you guys are probably thinking, well, duh, isn't that obvious? And yes, for every business, the client is very, very important. For example, if you've ever watched any of Jeff Bezos' interviews or videos, he always talks about how he was very obsessed with making sure the client has an incredible experience, right? Now, with e-commerce and physical stores and things that you are selling physically, yes, like I just mentioned there, the customer is very, very important. However, with those type of businesses, your goal is to try and create a product that is incredible, a physical thing that you are then able to sell at mass scale. And once the client receives it, I mean, that's pretty much your job done, right? Now, with this business where you're providing a said service, that's an ongoing thing for as long as you're going to be working with the client, making sure the client is not only happy with the results, but also the actual service that he or she is getting. So the first mistake that a lot of people make is not being focused enough towards just the client itself. Now, again, this might seem like common sense, but let me just explain exactly what I mean. Now, because this entire business model is based upon working with one or a couple of clients, and again, a little side note, if you're running an agency, you do not need 100, 200 clients to be working with at the same time to make a lot of money. You really and truly only need 4 to 10 potentially clients that are giving 50-50 and they're making 6 figures a month, right? That's really, really doable instead of trying to scale with a bunch of different clients at a certain. So because you only have 4 to 10, for example, you want to give as much focus and energy and time into every single one of them. So a practical piece of advice I can give with this one when it comes to being really focused on your client is making sure you're constantly communicating with them. Now guys, look, I don't mean just message back and forth on WhatsApp once a day and that's it. I mean, jump on calls with them, really have some Zoom calls scheduled on a daily or if not, definitely on a weekly basis. The more frequently you speak to them, the more you can be on the same level on exactly what's going on where, what needs to be improved, what content needs to be created, what platforms are underperforming, and so on and so on. So therefore, you're able to figure out exactly what needs work. Because I think a lot of you guys, and whenever a creator comes to me and says, hey, look, I want to work with your agency, I always ask them, well, what kind of experience have you had? Have you had an agency before? And 9 out of 10 times, yes, they've had an experience with an agency. And a lot of the times, of course, it hasn't been the best, hence why they're coming to me. And the most common thing that I hear is the fact that, look, they just weren't there. They weren't replying to messages. They weren't giving her anything to do. She had to figure it all out by herself. And the income maybe perhaps wasn't there as well. But all of that could have been avoided if you constantly communicate with the clients back and forth on a daily basis, book in Zoom calls and figure out exactly what needs to be worked on. And also, when you speak to your client on a daily basis through Zoom, again, there's a big difference between just messaging back and forth on WhatsApp than it is to jump on a Zoom call. Because when you're on a Zoom call, granted, it's not in person, but on a Zoom call, as long as, of course, the camera is on, you're able to tell facial expressions, body language. These things say a lot. Rather than the client physically saying out loud how she feels, she will let you know by her body language, tonality, things of that nature. And that's how you're able to tell a lot of the time as well, whether something's going good or bad, if she's happy, if she's unhappy with something. And if you notice something, just bring it up. Hey, look, I noticed you haven't replied here, or you haven't done this. Is everything okay? Are you busy, or what's going on? And that's how you're able to resolve a lot of issues. Again, this might seem like common sense, but please, I need you watching this right now. If you're an agency owner, you need to constantly be jumping on Zoom calls with your clients on a daily basis. Now, the next thing that I constantly see, again, like I said, I've coached over 800 agency owners and I've spoken to quite a lot of you guys. And one of the common things that I see is not reinvesting your money back into the business. I mentioned this in a previous video, where a lot of the time you start an agency or just any business for that matter in general to, of course, make money. Because at the time of you starting that business, you might be a little bit low on cash and you just want to build a business. So therefore, your mindset is, I want to make money to be able to do the certain thing that I want. And you get to a certain stage, and with OFM, it genuinely isn't it's not rocket science to build a business with OFM, start scaling it, and start making $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month, which is absolutely ridiculous amount of money. Because for me, my last 9 to 5 that I had a good 5-6 years ago, God, I can't remember, it was like $1,400 a month, Whereas with this, you're able to scale it to 10, 15K a month. And when you get to that sort of money, all of these temptations start to come in, right? You're able to go to these nice restaurants, you're able to drive that nice car, you're able to go on this holiday. But that is one of the biggest pitfalls you're going to run into. Because if instead of investing money back into your business, you start to spend it on certain things that aren't going to bring money back in, all of a sudden, not only are you going to start running low on cash again, but then also your focus and your time is being spent elsewhere. So the second point that I really wanted to focus on here, guys, is making sure that once you are making money, you are being smart about it and reinvesting it back into the business. Look, I'll completely put my hands up. I'm sure that you're probably thinking that's pretty boring, etc. Blah, blah, blah. And once you get to that stage, you probably will want to go out and buy that watch, go buy those clothes and go on that holiday that you have always wanted to. And you guys can, but just not yet. When you're still at the early stages where you're only making 10, 15, 20K a month, trust me when I tell you this is from my personal experience. You want to carry on, stay in that bunker, keep working really, really hard. Because if you keep reinvesting your time and money back into your business, it's gonna tenfold. In comparison, you get to 10K a month, you then kind of let loose a little bit. You go on a holiday here and there, you buy that car, this and that, your focus dips a little bit, your money starts running slow, and you're back at fucking step one again. And you again start, oh my God, I need to get more clients, I need to go again. But instead, if you just stay focused and you reinvest money back into the agency, trust me, you guys will get to 50 and 100K a lot faster. And to give you guys a real life example, when I say invest it back into the business, I mean, we're talking about staff members, paid promotion. Paid promotion in itself, there's literally one called guaranteed gains, right? GG. That's literally within the name, is guaranteed gains. You pay a certain amount of money to another creator, he or she then promotes your model, and then from there on you're able to get tons of new fans, literally guaranteed. But of course it costs money to do that. If you are now, as a business owner, if you are now taking the money for yourself and spending it elsewhere, etc., which by all means it's your money, you can do whatever the fuck you want. I'm just trying to give you advice. But if you are going to be doing that, well then you won't have a lot of money to reinvest back into the business to keep doubling, if not tripling that income. So hopefully you guys are understanding. I'm sure you guys know this point, but I just needed to reiterate it because this is one of the biggest pitfalls that I see with agency owners. And whilst we're talking about reinvesting back into the business, another thing is your staff, right? So your team around you. So when you're just starting out, again, you might be low on cash and you're probably inexperienced, right? And because you're just starting out. So at that stage, because you don't have a lot of income and you don't perhaps have the income or the connections, you might be hiring just pretty much anybody who you can at the beginning stages. Now, by all means, you have to do what you have to do when you're starting out in any business for that matter. But once you get to a certain stage where you have that money, and you are able to reinvest it back into the business, staff is going to be one of the first things that you need to look into, because the staff and the team behind you is quite literally the backbone of your entire agency, right? Because if you have underperforming staff, the results are not going to be there, the clients are not going to be happy, and they're going to want to leave. And then you're in this flywheel of constantly trying to find a client, you get them, you provide a shit service, they leave, and you're back again. You're trying to find a client, provide a shit service, they leave, and so on and so on, right? You need to get into this mindset of, okay, I'm just still in the beginning stages, I need to reinvest, get better team members, and that's where your money should be going. So a lot of staff members who have a lot of experience, and they're also great at what they do, they are going to cost a lot more, right? Their salary, they're going to be asking for a way bigger salary and a way bigger percentage, which is completely fine. Again, it's all relative, but again, I've said this in previous videos before, but the whole idea of you get what you pay for, it's the same as anything in life. So please keep in mind as well, once you're thinking about reinvesting back into the business, your staff should be definitely one of them. And the next point being is not reinvesting money back into your network, or just in general, this is one of the biggest pitfalls and mistakes that I see across the board for most business owners in general, especially with an online business. You're at home, sitting at your desk for 10, 12 hours at a day, right? 7 days a week. And if you're just doing that by yourself, sure, maybe the first month is completely fine because you're so excited, it's all new, it's brand new, it's super exciting. But then over a long period of time, give it 3, 4, 5 months, if you're still just doing that, before you realize it, you're gonna go insane. Like, you can't just sit at home by yourself all day, every day, right? You need to make sure you have a network of people, at least online. You know, you can meet them in person, of course, as well, but at least online that you can talk to are also doing the same thing as you. You're able to network with them, communicate with them, ask them questions, and so on. For us, as I mentioned, I've coached over 800 agency owners now, and we have a specific Discord community with all of them in there. There's over 800 people in there all around the world, all around the world. People are just starting out, people are doing 10K, 50,000, 150,000 per month. So there's a plethora of different agency owners who are just starting out, loads of experience, loads of different questions and nuances. And I've used this analogy in a previous video, but it's the same as if you were to be starting at like an ice cream shop, right? It doesn't matter what kind of fucking business, but if you were to be starting it all by yourself, in 365 days, there's only X amount of things that you can learn all by yourself. But imagine it's you plus 799 other people who are also trying to do the same thing. In 365 days, the amount of things that you learn by yourself will multiply that by 799. Right? You're going to learn a lot faster and a lot more. So make sure you have the right network. And if that sounds like something that you'd love to be a part of, a network with like-minded people, finally somebody like yourself who wants to build an OFM and wants to scale to crazy heights, make sure you message me on Instagram at Marcus Hustle. I'll put it up on the screen right here. And we're going to go ahead and send you some more details on how you could potentially have a chance to join. Now, online marketing is forever changing and adapting. If you're new to it, then this is going to be a news flash, but social media platforms change on a daily basis. You might not see it, it might look the same as you, and from your point of view, it might look like there's an update maybe every 3-4 months. But before you know it, like in the behind the scenes, it's changing every single day. The algorithms, the way social media prefers certain type of content, trends for that matter, it's forever changing, and it's changing very, very fast. That is why one of the biggest pitfalls that I see with agency owners is when they don't keep up to date with different marketing strategies, right? So again, at the end of the day, what is an OFM? It's a service-based business, and one of the main parts of the service is marketing, right? You're helping this model bring in new fans to the OF account. And within marketing, there are two different kind of categories. Of course, you've got organic, which is just free posting on content, and then you've got paid. The paid forms hasn't really changed all that much. I mean, they've been improved, but the concept is still the same. With organic and social media marketing, a lot has changed. And I get these messages all the time, whether it's an Onlyfans creator or an agency owner who come to me with certain problems or issues, and I kind of do a breakdown of their funnel, if you want to call it, or just their social media marketing. I see things that used to work like 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, right? They don't necessarily work anymore. As an example, there are certain people that really focus on hashtags on Instagram. Like, you know, it's not 2016 or 15 anymore, right? Hashtags don't really work all that well. And last but not least, believe it or not, I'm actually not a genie and I cannot tell the future. However, there is one thing that I can 110% guarantee on the fact that if you quit, that's when you will fail. If you simply just don't quit and you carry on, there is no way you're going to fail. I mean, at the time of this recording, you can literally go open up another tab right now and you can Google this. How many OnlyFans creators are there on OF right now? At the time of this recording, there's around 2 million. I think about 1.8, 1.9 million active monthly creators on the platform at the time of this recording. That number is only going to grow. Like, for example, yourself, I'm sure you cannot go a single day without hearing or seeing the word OnlyFans anywhere in social media. So it's only going to get more and more popular. That means there are going to be more and more creators on there. So even at the time of this recording, there are about 2 million potential clients that you could be working with. And I mean, how many agencies are there? Probably not a lot. If I was to guess, there's maybe 10, 15,000 agencies worldwide. And out of those, only about 10% who are actually putting in the effort, watching my videos, and actually wanting to scale their business. But anyway, the last point is that if you quit, that is the only surefire way that you'll 100% fail. So if you simply carry on, if you simply put the work in, you have a goal, you have a vision, and you get your first model, from there on, everything is so much more easier. Once you have your first client, from there on, you're able to leverage her results. You're able to get a testimonial. You perhaps might do an interview with her. And everything from there on becomes so much easier. Guys, this and so much more is being taught on our online coaching program every single day. Our coaching program is not out of date. It's something that we update on a daily basis. We do Zoom calls with you where you can ask us questions directly to me and my business partner, Harry. If that is something that you'd like to be a part of, again, message me on Instagram at Marcus Hustle, or there'll be a link down below. Make sure you check it out. Without further ado, I'll see you on the next video.